Hey guys, Harsh this side from AccioJob. Could you please in the chat just let me know if the audio and everything is working fine, guys? Okay, great. To begin, hi, just to give you a quick intro, I'm Harsh. I'm one of the co-founders here at AccioJob. At AccioJob, we train you in full stack web development in our 6 months flagship full stack web dev course, and then get you placed in companies paying up to 40 LPA. Yeah, that's right. Uh, we work on an outcome oriented model, which basically means that you don't really pay us anything in case you don't land a job paying at least 5 LPA even after completing our course. On weekends, we try to bring in great people who are already working in the industry, who have done what you aim to do and have added and generated a lot of value for themselves in the industry. uh, Continuing in the same vein, today we have Archie Mittal with us. Archie started her journey as a backend engineer and today is a VP at a leading global investment bank. So let's just hear from her what her journey has been like, and let me just call her up on the stage. Hey, Archie.
Hey, Harsh.
Uh,
Thank you so much for the platform, first of all. And congratulations and the initiative that you are going. Uh, Congratulations on that first thing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Archie. So was just going through your profile a few minutes ago only, and I realized that
Yeah.
you started your journey in tech, and then later now are in such a great management position at such a top company, right? So, could you just talk a bit more about, particularly about the time when you started, because most of our viewers right now are preparing and would love some words of inspiration from leaders such as yourselves.
Uh,
I think Archie,
I
there's
see.
a problem at your end with your audio. Could you please check that once? I think people are saying in the
Uh,
comments as well.
hey, 1 second. Let me try my AirPods.
Hey, is it any better?
Yeah, I think we can work with this. Great.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, so to start about my journey, it has been a long, very thriving, very fulfilling experience. If I start from like very starting, I belong to a very small town called Shahpur. It's in Uttar Pradesh. My parents, like, it's a basic, very simple middle class family. My father is a businessman, my mother is a housewife, and very small place you can think of, like very limited resources.
Right.
When I was in school, we did not have a proper CBSE board in my town itself. So we had like a different set of schools, which the what do you say, the association would be the school which have the authority to teach you. The other, it's kind of a tuition that you're going through. So yeah, I've seen through like a quite an experience throughout since then. So if I go back in time and like think about it even now, the constant thing that has been with me is like, do not settle. So that has kept me going. And if I would say, like, do not settle even physically, I haven't settled physically in one location. After doing my schooling from Muzaffarnagar, I moved on to Delhi University, and that too, like I said you about the resources, I had no
Right.
phone, no internet. I just heard from someone saying Delhi University once, and I researched about it, or from wherever I can get in my school lab. I would get some internet access. I'll probably just go and research how to get the form, how to go in there. All of that I did, and then 5 years in Delhi University, I did my graduation, post graduation, both from there. I got campus placement in firm called Edison. Then I worked there for 1 year, moved further, then again working in the next firm for 2 years, learned from there and applied those learnings in moving further. So then here I am after all these years. I think that kind of sums up my journey till from where I started and where I am. I wouldn't say it's a very uncommon thing. I know a lot of people has this journey in India. But again, if it can inspire even a single person, that would be incredible for me.
Yeah, that's great. Great to hear. I really honestly did not know that it was from such humble beginnings that you actually started your career and are at a place right now where it's inspiring, really. We do see that. So in Shahpur, there could probably have been, so if the resources would have been there, I'm sure a many more larger number of people would have been able to break through,
Definitely,
sort of, right?
definitely. I mean, I could count on my fingers how many, like not even women, I would say, how many students were like going out and working at that time when I
Right,
started off. I mean, there were like 4 or 5 I could count, which actually were going out of there and working outside rather than like doing random business or whatever was available there. So yeah,
right.
those times and that place, it has been a long journey.
Yeah, definitely. Just to add to that a little bit, just a few days ago, we all celebrated International Women's Day as well. Uh, so, being at such a position and working in such a large org, you must definitely be having a few female colleagues as well who would also have had some similarities in their journey as to what you've had. So, could you please highlight or talk a little bit about how being a woman has created some different circumstances for you in your career, and what do you take away from them, and how would you at this stage ask other women who might be facing similar problems in their lives to handle those sorts of things?
Sure. So yes, definitely. Being a woman at a workplace, it's definitely a different experience from, I suppose, what a bank men would be. I wouldn't say it like when you are working or when you are delivering a certain deadline or working on a project. It probably wouldn't have a wider level of difference at that moment, but it lies in
Right,
smaller things. For example, there's a late night meeting that people want to do. So if
right,
there are probably I am fortunate enough to work across those times. I have a very supportive family, so I did not face those challenges, but I have seen my colleagues who just cannot attend a particular meeting, so they get left behind on something or some projects, because you
right,
can move certain things but not always. So timing is certainly an issue. Then I have seen my colleagues who went on, let's say, a maternity leave. So when they come back, the thing has entirely changed. Like that project probably have completely gone into someone else's hand. The lines of code that has been there have completely changed. We went into a certain technology that was not there 6 months back. So those kind of
right,
challenges are like seen in and around on a daily basis. But even other than that, on in general, on a societal level, if I say, there has been a different kind of challenges being working along with your household responsibilities. I mean, in India, however modern we say we have become, but the basic notion of everyone's mentality is, whatever you are working doesn't matter. The household responsibility is women's. You are the housemaker that you have to abide by. So
right,
those challenges are certainly, I would say, the most difficult of managing time between your home, your probably kids, your parents, and then working alongside and proving your mettle in doing that. You cannot. So what I have felt and I have seen is women have to work that little extra bit just to prove that yes, we are in the same skill set, we are doing the same amount of work, to show that we have to just do a little bit extra.
right, right. Yeah, no, makes perfect sense, and it's definitely a shame that situations still are like what they are. But I think
Yeah,
over time, do you see this improving, probably from the early days when you started out, and now do you see
definitely.
a shift happening?
Yeah, definitely. I would say every day I'm seeing it's getting better and better. It's working towards a very great change. For example, if I say like my current team in my current firm, I my manager is a woman. The person I'm mentoring, she's also a woman. Then my like my team has some 3 4 pods. There are 3 women managers in all 3 pods. So it's
Okay,
a great change to see that it's kind of a, you can say, women majority team. So that's like the current example. But other than that as well, in general, if I see, if I look around in terms of my relatives, my colleagues, society, friends, I see a major shift in thought process as well. I mean, if when I started off, it was not that normal that women will go out and work. In the sense, I'm not saying like ancient ages and then people did not expect that 8 years back. Definitely that was there, but
Yeah.
that small shift has happened in like normal household sense, if I'm saying. Like for example, my own mother would be like, she was like, oh, you're working, fine. Like she was very proud of it, but she wouldn't meet many people who would be same level of proud. They would be like, oh, like what is the need of her going out and work?
Mm.
Like, you got her educated, just get like a nice good boy and then get her married. That was the general perspective. But now when I meet people, that has slightly changed. I see them talking, like the general society talking that, oh, what is she doing? That has been so the question of what is she doing, from like when is she getting married, is being raised slowly. I do not like I'm not saying entirely, but slowly that change is there.
Yeah, and probably having more women in leadership roles and in the company in general would, at least on the workplace side, make things easier for women who are
Definitely.
about to join the
Yeah,
workplace
yeah.
as
So
well.
it's all
I
about.
think this is probably the only way we can do that as well.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. So I would say mentorship plays a very, very critical role in development of an individual, being a woman or a man. How you are being mentored at your workplace, outside your workplace, that plays an important role in shaping you as a leader in later stage. So being more
right,
women leader today, if we are mentoring more people in certain way, on in a certain thought process, that it is like there is nothing abnormal if a woman is working, or you'll get nothing less if a woman is working on a certain project. If you put that kind of
right,
mentality through mentorship, then that thought process will pass on and will increase. That is why I
right.
think it depends on like today's mentorship, how do we see a future.
Yeah. Just to let the viewers know once, so what we have done for this, to support this cause on this Women's Day is we have created a corpus of 5 CR especially for promoting women in tech. So for every female candidate that joins our course and is able to land a job after successfully completing our course, we are committing 25K extra towards their course fee that would be bared by AccioJob. What we aim to do with this is we do have a lot of partner companies that hire regularly from us, wanting more women candidate in technical roles in their companies. So we think that this initiative might help them hire more women engineers as well. So we think of it as a win-win for everyone involved. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Let's just wish that a lot of we just wish that a lot of women are excited about it and do think of this as an opportunity, and this just gives them a little extra push that is needed to sort of become better at it.
It will definitely.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just talk a few minutes about your early days as an engineer before this leadership roles. You were a backend engineer, and I was told that your main programming language was Java as well, which is incidentally
Small correction. I am a backend engineer even now with the leadership role.
okay.
It's not like an
Okay.
isolated management role. I'm still a technical manager. So you can think of it
Okay.
as a mentorship role along with the. So I do code daily basis even today, and I
Okay. Okay.
foresee doing that myself in upcoming years as well.
Yeah, that's great. So like I was just saying, so we actually also use Java only for teaching data structures and algorithms to our students in the main course. So
Mhm.
yeah, so when let's just go back to the time when you were in your final year of college, or when you were preparing for your first job, what sorts of
Mhm.
things do you think you took care of, or how did you go about the entire process? Because a lot of our viewers are exactly at that stage, so it might be helpful for them.
Sure, sure. So the first thing that I feel and that I have applied on myself is when you are preparing for a certain firm, or like anything. The core ability in like being an engineer is problem solving, the clarity of your thoughts. That's
Right.
what matters the most. So what even I have done, I have practiced for like data structures, algorithm. I think that is like a common knowledge that, okay, you have to learn data structures, you have to practice the questions. That is a common knowledge. But you cannot just cram it all. You have to
Right.
understand. So the difference that sometimes people do gets confused is data structure is not something which is getting used to judge you, which is like you should know data structure. That is why the interview is happening. Why you should know data structure? Because that shows how can you think, how can you apply a particular data structure to solve a problem. The core of engineering, like why we are coding, is to solve a problem, is to build a product. So you should be able to apply that thought process. So at the very basic level, if I start, like let's say when I was preparing, if I'm reading a problem, I wouldn't see that, okay, this is the solution, I should go by this. The very
Hmm.
first thing, you should try to solve that on your own by creating a solution for it, by thinking a solution for it. Definitely refer to the solution which is there, but after you think it all on your own, and after you
Right.
convince yourself that, okay, this solution is better than mine. But the basic thing is your mind, like the exercise that has to be there in solving that. So yeah, that is,
Right.
I think, the basis of everything.
Yeah, definitely. I would just plug in a little bit of more uh, exact terms. So what we recommend people is, at least when they're beginning, instead of probably spending 15-20 minutes thinking about a problem and then coming just reading out the solution, they should probably spend an hour, or even a couple of hours for problems when you're just starting out, because unless you do that, you won't be able to create a logic building attitude in your own thinking as well. So that's really important.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
no, go ahead.
yeah, so now just wanted to talk a bit more about how the script has all flipped and you're on the other side of a table where you sort of judge people on their problem skills instead of solving problems yourselves. So
Yeah, yeah,
how do you go about hiring? What sorts of things do you care about in an entry level engineer? Talk a bit about that.
sure. So again, the similar thing which I said, but so the if I am interviewing somebody, what an interviewer is looking, it is they are looking like a future colleague or a future team member or a future junior that they have to
Right.
work with, right? So when you are looking for such a people, what you would focus on, that people has an effective communication in terms of, if you are putting a hint out there or if you are trying to communicate that you should act certain way, they should be able to pick that first thing. Then they should be
Hmm.
able to ask the right questions. If I posed a problem in front of an, like when an interview start, you start by asking a problem, right? If I asked a problem, but then the interviewee did not clarify what is the problem and started right away on the solution, he can never
Right.
reach the solution, right? Okay. So the first key
Okay.
point is the effective communication in terms of understanding the problem and understanding the hints, like what the
Hmm.
interviewer wants. That is the key. Then when you navigate to the solution, the second part is, you should, like if I'm asking a problem, I'm not looking for the exact correct solution. I'm looking for how are you thinking about it, what is your approach towards reaching that solution. So sometimes I choose people who did not even went to the correct solution, but sometimes I reject people who solve the full bookish solution whatever is there on the internet. Because
Right.
we do not look for people who have, like, I am not impressed by that you have probably practiced for 50 problems. I want to understand what is your thought process when you'll be working alongside me. If I'm giving you a real world problem, would you be able to think about it? Would you be able to reach that solution? So the approach matters. So that
Hmm.
is why I said in the previous question, when you asked, like, in the preparation part, how much you practice doesn't matter, but whatever small you practice, that should be the understanding, like the concept should be clear. If you know something, for example, like Java is object oriented programming language, everybody knows, fine. But what does that mean? What is an object? That concept level clarity is the utmost
Hmm.
important thing, I feel. So when I take interviews, I ask most basic questions, but I want to go to the depth of it to see how much of a concept a person knows. So yeah, that's all about it. Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. That's that's actually a perspective which students might not be very known to, because most if I am a student and I think from a basic point of view, I would think that the interviewer would ask me a question, and if I can solve it, I'll get selected, and if I don't solve it, I won't be selected.
That I have
Yeah,
seen a lot
thinking.
of times.
Yeah, because that is what the intuition seems to be for at least the interviewee at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah, so guys, this is sort of a hidden
Insider
info
tip.
being told here. Yeah, insider tip. So actually, when people are hiring, if they're hiring for their team, they do look for someone who they are comfortable communicating with. They're able to see ki if a problem arises, at least the other person can communicate that well to me, keeps the team on the same page, and then can in a collective setting tackle the problem. So
Yep.
communicating well, thinking out loud, coming up with clarifying questions, all these things do add up in an interviewer's mind when they're trying to judge you. So yeah.
Because technology or language, like unless you do not know the concepts, that's a different thing. But if you know the concepts, but probably the syntax of the language is a little bit off, or you do not know a particular question's solution, that is all fine. You can all learn. But your attitude, your communication, that cannot be like undo, or that cannot be changed when you're working. That is why
Right.
the most important things are the ones which I said.
Yeah, yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's just move to the questions people have been asking in the chat all this time, and let me just find out a few questions which I think we can discuss.
sure.
uh, Acha, okay. People are asking personal questions exactly that are there in the interview. So somebody has asked, ma'am, what was your answer to the question? What are your strengths and weaknesses during an interview? So if you could talk about how you think a student should answer that, or what that should be about.
Okay, so I would say that's a very cliche question. There are thousands of answers. There is no correct or incorrect answer to that question. It's just a way to judge your attitude. That is why it's being asked. And if like first of all, it should come honestly on what you feel. Let's say, so if I was asked, I would say. My strength would be collaborative nature. I am good with networking. I can connect with people.
Hmm.
I can that Yeah, I think that is good enough. And then for weaknesses, obviously you cannot say that I don't know language or something. It's most behavioral question. So you have to be diplomatic in these kind of questions. So weaknesses per se, you can one very I would say the most internet searched this thing is, people say that I cannot say no to things, but I don't think that's a good answer. You should be able to say no at the right places.
Hmm.
So weaknesses per se, okay, let me think. I haven't given an interview since long time, so, and I don't ask questions. So weaknesses, it could be that I'm probably not uh, I can't think of right now. Spontaneous, I'm not as spontaneous, but you have to be spontaneous. So yeah, that could be.
It's a weakness anyway. So yeah, it's probably better to not be able to think of
To be
other
honest,
things.
in technical interviews, these questions does not matter a lot.
Hmm. Right. That, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So you
So
not.
somebody has asked.
Mhm.
So somebody just mentioning that, ma'am, you seem to be great at communicating what you are thinking. I'm not so good at it. What do you think I can do to become better at communicating my thoughts?
Okay, so there are two things in communication when I see people. So there is a clarity, there is a language. So sometimes people say if somebody has a good hold on a language, that is good and effective communication. But that is not. So if you think you cannot speak specific language so effectively, let's say English, I think most used language is English right now when we talk in terms of interview or like professional communication. So if you're
Right.
not so good with English, it doesn't mean you are not good at communication. You can communicate in your native language whenever you feel the need. Let's say you are, I am not saying that everybody will understand that language, so you should talk in your native language in an interview, but you should feel that confident that if you're able to put out your thought, the language is not the barrier. Once you start building up on your thought process, the language will automatically come. You should not bind your thoughts inside just because you are not finding the right words for it. Probably mix some words from whatever language you are comfortable with. That would make it at least come across. Like that would help you with putting your point across. And when you are comfortable enough to put your point across, language would automatically improve. Language comes up with when you are speaking. So I think, yeah, that's what I feel has been the basis of effective communication from what I have seen. Everybody has a thought
Okay.
process, obviously. Everybody has their, so the two barriers to it, one could be you do not feel confident enough to speak on that. Another thing is you do not feel that confident in a particular language. So language is no barrier, definitely. Confidence, you have to bring it on. And especially for women, I would say confidence is the key to excel in a technical setup or in any setup for that matter. Because obviously the numbers do matter. There's a minority. So if on a table there
Right.
are like 8 men and 2 women sitting, so there is the slight bit of, I would say, doubts in okay, if I say this, how would it come across? So you do not need to think that much. It's fine if you are saying something wrong. It's totally fine. Not everybody is perfect, so it's completely fine. Just speak up, be confident. So that would, I think, that's all about the effective communication.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Especially the point about women also. I think
Yeah.
that could also help a lot of women feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Uh, Moving on, I also have a question here regarding. Okay, so people are getting specific into how you do interviews. So somebody is asking what sorts of projects do make sense to you, and what do you how do you judge a project, and what do you want in a student's project, essentially.
So students project, if it's about the college projects, like what you did in your
Yeah.
final year
So this.
internship
Yeah, something like that.
from okay, so from that it doesn't matter a lot to an interviewer because it's not totally in the hands of the students. The thing that matters is how much you know of that. If you write ABCXYZ in your resume, I do not care
Hmm.
what that project, how relevant that project is in the market today. My thought process
Hmm.
would be how much you are aware about it. If you worked on it, you should be able to know end to end about it. You should be able to explain it to me. Because to be very honest, an interviewer also doesn't know it all. In college there are lots of things going on each day, and we do not know it all. Obviously
Definitely.
there are n numbers of things that are going on. So the as an interviewer, what is our communication point? That is the interviewing. So if you are able to communicate your project to us in a most clear way, if we understand that, then yeah, that is the best project, I would say. Whatever you can make us understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So people have also asked. Uh, okay. So somebody has asked that in a real job as a backend engineer, you probably don't use data structures and algorithms so much. Then why is it such a hard requirement for clearing the interviews, and what is the point of this?
Okay. So
So,
first of
yeah.
all, I would break the myth that it is not getting used in the professional life on a daily basis. It is getting used, but again, not the typical questions that you do or that you practice, not the set problems. It do comes in handy, but on a different use case. it has its own application. For example, hash map, right? You'll probably read some 50 questions of hash maps over multiple sites, or when you are preparing for data structures, there are set questions of hash map. You'll go through them. But when I'm working on a project in my firm, then hash map application is happening. How I know that I have to use hash map there? Because I did those questions. Because I know if there is a
Right.
certain set of certain type of problem, I can solve this using hash map. That is why those questions are the hard requirement. To understand that, do you know about hash map, or like, do you know about a certain collection, so that when the need comes, you are able to apply that data structure in real world. I would give you a
Right.
very small example of like how why this code iteration or data structure is so important. Just another day, I was going through a review from one of my colleague, and it was a very small line of code in there, which was letting the whole thing do not do what we were trying it to. We were trying to change the first element of a map to a certain value. So we were writing the syntax of the code, which was calling the iterator in the next line again, like initializing the iterator. So
Okay.
I don't want to go too technical. Probably not everyone will understand, but I'm
Yeah.
what I'm focusing on is that smallest line of code, which I would probably have learned in first year of my college, that how to iterate through a map, definitely do makes a difference here. Since I remembered from there, that is why I was able to recognize that bug in my code. Otherwise,
Hmm.
like, how do you know? If you do not practice those data structure questions, you would never know that how to iterate through a map correctly.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. So that's why data structures and algorithms is such an important topic, guys.
yeah,
Before going into the industry, it gives you an idea of writing code and forms patterns in your head
yeah,
regarding when to go with which sort of a structure.
yeah.
Okay. So right before ending, I would uh, just ask Archie to uh, just lay down some sorts of advice or some sorts of thoughts that she has that might be helpful to a person who's just starting in their journey as an engineer. Let's say, what two or three things do you think they should be uh, focusing on as they begin their journey in engineering?
Okay. First of all, you all should know that this is a very wide industry. There are like hell lot of opportunities. If you are in the right direction, you are putting the right efforts, then sky is the limit. So the motivation at all times should be high. That is the most important point. Then, secondly, when it comes to preparation, right? Your goal is to learn the concepts. You should understand the concepts. Like I think I'm reiterating this point 1,000 times, but that is the most important thing. If you do not understand a concept, you just know by the words, then you would not able to explain it if somebody asks you. So that is the most important thing. Then comes the data structure, algorithm, practice. Practice, why I say practice and I do not say like solve the problems, is when you write a code and when you think of a problem, those are two different things. So
Hmm.
think of the solution, but try to implement that, right? When you implement a solution, then only you go to attention to the details. And attention to
Right.
the details meaning how many edge cases you are covering, what test cases should you write. All of that comes into play when you actually write the code, right? So if you are
Right.
starting up and you are preparing, then your focus should be understanding the concepts, learning the technology, not technology, but yeah, learning the language, data structures, whatever material you have, and to practice writing the code. If you are like achieving that, if you are trying to go to programming profile, then you should
Hmm.
try to practice coding as much as you can.
Right. Okay. All right. With that, I think we have sorts of discussed all the questions that were being asked. Thank you so much, Archie, for doing this. I hope this really motivated a few folks that were watching this and created some sorts of difference in what their journey is going to be. And just, yeah, congratulations on what you have been doing all these years. And it's amazing to see people like you succeed. Thank you so much for doing this, Archie.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Hirsch, for this platform again. And I would again congratulate you on this Pratigya initiative. This is like really, really great. I was really excited about when I heard about it, and when I like given a chance to speak about it, I didn't like think twice given this initiative. I was like super impressed with this thing because it's really delighting to seeing more women's in technology every day. So kudos to you guys. Keep up the good work. Congratulations, and yeah, all the best.
Okay. All the best to you as well, Archie. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.